welcome to South Asia Today, a show that provides you the glimpses of South Asia. I'm your host Hina Joshi. Here are the headlines. Indian aviation industry touching new heights post brief COVID turbulence. Afghans assess Taliban's one-year rule. And Hindu devotees across India celebrate Krishna Janmashtami with grandeur. Let's begin the show. The Indian civil aviation industry is emerging as one of the fastest growing indigenous sectors. The country will likely overtake the UK to become the third largest air passenger market by 2024. The main objective is to connect India's metropolitan cities with smaller towns under the government's regional connectivity scheme, UDAN. Have a look.
A consistently ascending trajectory of India's aviation sector has paved way for a competition-driven acceleration amongst the country's airliners. Akasa Airline, the country's latest entry into an established and competitive airline industry, set off its commercial operations with its first flight on the Mumbai-Ahmedabad route. Backed by the late billionaire investor Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, Akasa has a 72 Boeing aircraft fleet on order and is set to compete directly with other budget carriers like Indigo, SpiceJet, and Go First. Akasa launched operations with aims to connect India's metropolitan cities with smaller towns. Their strategy was created in line with the government's regional connectivity scheme, which was designed to make airline travel available to common citizens at affordable prices.
In the last 5 years, we have grown from 2013-14 almost 6 crore passengers to almost 14.5 crore passengers. We forecast by 2027, India will have 40 crore passengers per year. That's the kind of phenomenal growth. And if that phenomenal growth has to be made possible, it can only be made possible by a number of players coming into the sector.
Currently, there are 9 scheduled airlines operating in India, the biggest being Air India, Indigo, SpiceJet, AirAsia India, Go First, and Vistara. In a major challenge to the existing players, in January of this year, the Tata Group secured control of the state-run carrier Air India in a $2.4 billion USD equity and debt deal, ending years of struggle trying to privatize the financially troubled airline. 3 years after being grounded due to a cash crunch, Jet Airways is also back in business as well. The airline is expected to resume its commercial operations from September. The Ministry of Civil Aviation, which has welcomed such growth and expansion, expects the fresh competition to generate 100,000 new jobs in the next 2 years. Travel restrictions during the coronavirus pandemic had severely affected the industry. With the easing of restrictions, India's domestic air travel has made a sharp recovery, with airlines flying over 57 million passengers in the first half of this year, up by 238% from last year.
India is seeing a phenomenal revival post-COVID restrictions, though the industry started very slow, but it picked up the momentum and it's in full swing. If you see that aviation market, Indian aviation market is the 4th largest next to US, China and the UK. Now soon we are expecting that India will overtake even the UK. Now government, because of the UDAN scheme, airlines started operating more than 600 routes, and because of this, more than 10 million people have benefited, and it's expected next 2 years it will double more than the present figures of 10 million.
Observers say the sky is the limit for the aviation sector in India. The Airports Authority of India, the implementing agency, has awarded 948 routes under the Regional Connectivity Scheme, from which 405 routes involving 65 airports have been operationalized as of March this year. With more routes and airports opening up, the airline industry is set to witness robust growth. This brings more investment opportunities for the country, thereby also enhancing the employment potential as well. This is another rapidly developing story of Brand India.
Moving on, The story that is creating ripples in newsrooms and top political circles the world over is China's satellite and ICBM tracker ship Yuan Wang 5 getting docked in Sri Lankan waters at Hambantota port. While some call it Beijing's response to Washington's growing assertiveness in the South China Sea and Taiwan, others believe that China is leveraging its clout to contain New Delhi's strengthening camaraderie with Colombo, especially in the backdrop of the unprecedented economic crisis that Sri Lanka has plunged into, and India providing it all necessary support to keep it afloat.
16th August 2022, the Chinese survey vessel Yuan Wang 5 docked at Sri Lanka's Chinese-built port of Hambantota. The Yuan Wang 5 sailed into the Hambantota port and was welcomed by Sri Lankan and Chinese officials. However, this move from the China is likely to stoke concern in neighboring India about the growing influence of Beijing in the region and beyond.
You have experienced some different rough weather this time on the Indian Ocean. The port call of Yuan Wang 5 to Hambantota finally comes through. It manifests not only your courage, tenacity, and invincibility, but also the deep-rooted, unfading, and enduring friendship between our two countries.
The movements of the ship have fueled contention between India and China, two of Sri Lanka's biggest allies in its current economic crisis. Sri Lanka has referred to the Yuan Wang 5 as scientific research ship, but there are apprehensions in India that the vessel could be used for surveil the region, with multiple media reports calling it a dual-use spy ship. The incident has raised concern for India that China could use the port near the main Asia-Europe shipping route as a military base. Hours after the ship docked, a Sri Lankan cabinet spokesman said the island nation was working to ensure that there was no friction between friendly countries.
We hope and request China, our long-standing friend, to assist us in restructuring our debts and secure an IMF bailout as soon as possible and provide with some meaningful bridging finance.
China has been a long-term construction and development ally for Sri Lanka, granting large loans for projects extending well beyond the port. But at the same time, China aids Sri Lanka for its own advantage. The closely watched developments surrounding the vessel underscore the competing interest of regional giants India and China in the small island nation. For more than a decade, Sri Lanka's strategic location in the Indian Ocean and along one of the busiest shipping routes has seen both countries vie for influence.
Moving on to Afghanistan, where the Taliban marked the first anniversary of its takeover of Kabul. Be it the women's rights, malnutrition, or the deteriorating humanitarian crisis, the situation in the country has only worsened in the last 1 year. We have a report.
Afghanistan's economic situation has been constantly volatile since the Taliban became de facto rulers on August 15, 2021. The country struggles with rising poverty, drought, and malnutrition that has left over half of its population, that is 40 million people, dependent on humanitarian aid to survive. The banking sector in the country has almost collapsed, thereby worsening the country's economy. Right groups and UN agencies have described this past year as one riddled with broken multiple pledges to respect human rights and women's rights since taking over the country. Taliban has imposed social restrictions on women, including banning girls from secondary and higher education, even allowing punishment of public flogging and execution for violating the Taliban's laws. The hardliners deprived millions of women of their right to education, ousted tens of thousands of women from government jobs, and banned their businesses and all sorts of activism. They have plunged Afghan women back into the dark ages again, and women in the country have even lost the right to life.
خب تغییرات بزرگی آمد مثلا در بخش اقتصادی که مردم افغانستان فعلا زیر فقرن و خیلی تغییرات اقتصادی اومدن، هم توی خانواده هایی که سطح و لول سرمایه‌شون بالاتر بود، هم کسایی که زیر فقر بودن اونا که زندگیشون خیلی بدتر شدن و تعلیم و تربیه هم همینطور.
in March, the Taliban went back on their promise to allow girls to attend high schools, claiming they would remain closed until a plan was developed that would allow them to reopen in conformity with Islamic law. Restrictions on the female dress code in the country were reinforced in May when the Taliban government ordered women to cover their faces in public. Women now have the option of either wearing the burqa or the hijab.
خب ایجاب اسلامی هم نظر ایجاب تمام بدن که از به اتفاق علما فرض است بالای زنها، اما ایجاب روی کسی مسئله اتفاقی نیست، اختلافی است که نظر ای برمیگرده به عرف و عادات مردم که چه قسم عرف و عادات مردم است. اگر فتنه به اوجش رسیده بود درست است حجاب روی هم فرض میشه، اگر فتنه نبود آزار اذیت نمیشدن دخترها ایجاب روی فرض نیست. هر کس به دلخواه خود میتونه که هر قسم ایجاب کنه، اما ایجاب بدن فرض است.
The country is safer than it was when the hardline Islamist movement was fighting against US-led foreign forces and their Afghan allies, although a local offshoot of Islamic State has carried out several attacks. Yet that relative security cannot mask the scale of the challenge the Taliban face is setting Afghanistan on a path of economic growth and stability. There are huge pressures on the economy caused in large part by the country's isolation as foreign governments refuse to recognize its rulers. Development aid upon which the country relied so heavily has been cut as the international community demands that the Taliban respect the rights of Afghans, particularly girls and women whose access to work and education has been curtailed. The last time the Taliban ruled Afghanistan in the late 1990s, women could not work, girls were banned from school, and strict Islamic law was brutally enforced, including through public executions.
Now let's take a look at a few happenings in Asia in our segment called Asia Watch.
A 73-year-old Iraqi woman who gave her name as Salwan participates in the sit-in at the Iraqi parliament by offering laundry service for free for the supporters of Iraqi populist leader Muqtada al-Sadr, who have been occupying the parliament since July. Salwan, who participated in mass anti-government protests in 2019 with the same initiative, used her pension money to buy new washing machines this year. The mother of 6 said she works every day for free from 8 am until 6 pm and will not stop until the young people get their rights. Supporters of the populist leader have occupied the Iraqi parliament since July after a 10-month political stalemate that followed elections last October. Sadr was the biggest winner but failed to form a government free of Iranian-backed parties. Explosions and fires ripped through at least 17 locations in southern Thailand, injuring 7 people in what appeared to be multiple coordinated attacks. The bombing and arson attack happened after midnight and targeted convenience stores and gas stations across 3 provinces, according to police and military statements. Explosive ordnance team officers were seen at the explosion sites on Wednesday. No one has claimed the responsibility for the attack so far. Provinces in southern Thailand along the border with Malaysia have seen a decade-long low-level insurgency in which the Thai government had battled shadowy groups seeking independence for the predominantly Muslim provinces of Pattani, Yala, Narathiwat and parts of Songkhla. The golden joint of the world's highest Chenab railway bridge, 359 meters, was inaugurated on August 13. Undertaken by the Western Indian Railways Corporation, the rail bridge is part of Udhampur-Srinagar-Baramulla rail link project aiming to connect important regions in the valley. International and national engineering agencies were roped in to facilitate the construction of the project. From the 2 ends of the Chenab River Valley, the bridge superstructure on the arc was being gradually pushed and it will connect at the center of the arc. Currently, the world's tallest rail bridge is on Trans-Tarn River and its tallest pillar rises 340 meters while the actual height at which train runs on the bridge is 300 meters. These are little car models which have been developed by the hands of little kids. This scene was witnessed at the Kids Engineer 2022, which was recently held in Yokohama, Japan, where children learned about engineering cars. A number of Japanese automakers and parts manufacturers also participated in the event. Because of the burning issue of climate change, children are being taught about the importance of decarbonization and the usage of energy sources such as hydrogen and wind power. These children have built a model car kit and have learned about the programming of speed and direction. The reason why the car is not hitting the wall is because it is equipped with an infrared reflection signal system that prevents it from doing so. A special cap that children wear has a device for measuring brain waves. Children can be diagnosed with emotional changes while driving by measuring their brain wave while they play a driving game. The automobile industry in Japan recognizes and promotes carbon neutral and autonomous driving machineries. These kids will surely grow up and become good automobile engineers. Excavators and drain pipes are the latest inventions in the sewerage machinery. Japan's sewerage industry is facing a turning point at the Japanese company DX, which is incorporating digital technology. Surveying sewerage pipes and facilities consume a lot of time and effort from humans. Underwater drone for sewer research is attracting a lot of attention. The development of drones with updated technologies and improved image quality and operating performance in the dark is progressing. Sewerage is used in the case of flood accidents. The technology to understand water storage quickly is enabled by digitalization. During the summer vacation in Japan, this event was held to help many people and children learn about sewer. The sewer system structure, microorganisms in water, and uniquely designed manholes in various locations were also introduced. Japan's new technology for the sewerage industry is evolving through major digital transformations that will contribute to the world's sewerage technology in the future.
It's time for our cultural section. Indians recently got soaked in the vibrant celebrations of the much-awaited Krishna Janmashtami festival. Devotees across the country thronged Krishna temple and offered special prayers to mark the annual fiesta. Have a look.
Krishna Janmashtami is one of the most popular festivals of India. Recently, these Hindu devotees from across India chanted Hare Krishna Hare Rama to mark the auspicious occasion of Krishna Janmashtami with religious fervor and immense enthusiasm. It is celebrated every year to mark the birth anniversary of Lord Krishna, which falls in late August or early September according to the Gregorian calendar. Lord Krishna, a son of Vasudeva and Devaki, is worshipped as the 8th incarnation of Hindu god Vishnu. Krishna is revered across northern India for his miraculous and cute acts as a child. His recitation of 700 verse Bhagavad Gita to his friend Arjun on a battlefield is considered as one of the most important Hindu religious texts. According to Hindu mythology, Lord Krishna was born in human form to kill Kans, his maternal uncle and the demon king of Mathura city.
We are celebrating Sri Krishna Janmashtami with all the grandeur. Festivals are the times where you can gratify all your senses spiritually. Lord Krishna is adorned with a special Sri Vrindavan Krishna Alankara, which is a feast to your eyes. You can also experience the joy of participating in Sri Krishna Sankirtana, that Sangeeta Seva offered to the Lord throughout the day. You can also honor Sri Krishna Prasadam. In fact, we are distributing about 1 lakh laddus and 12 tons of sweet pongal during the festival. And then you get to smell the special flowers that is offered to the Lord. and the entire atmosphere is so spiritually rejuvenating that anybody who enters this temple on Janmashtami day is sure to be spiritually enlivened.
On the auspicious occasion, temples across the country are decorated in glittery lights where devotees dance, sing devotional hymns, and chanting of Lord Krishna captivated everyone. Reflecting the childhood of Lord Krishna, many children were seen in colorful attire of the Hindu god in India's Kerala state. The cavalcade of people dressed as Lord Krishna and went around the district attracted devotees and onlookers. Devotees also participated in colorful fairs, cultural performances, and religious rituals. They adorned their homes with flowers, diyas, and lights. Temples were also beautifully decorated and lit. Janmashtami celebrations may vary from state to state. In some areas, the birth of Lord Krishna is commemorated by organizing Dahi Handi, where several groups of Krishna devotees compete to break a heightened pot by building human pyramids. Believers observe fast on this day and abstain from consuming grains until the next day and perform various rituals in their homes.
जन्माष्टमी मतलब कृष्ण का जन्म, तो ये हमारे लिए साल में सबसे बड़ा उत्सव होता है और इसकी तैयारियां बहुत एक महीने पहले शुरू हो जाती हैं। बाहर जो कनातें लगती हैं और जो वाटर प्रूफिंग होता है वो सब पहले से हो जाता है स्टार्ट। हम यहाँ पे आए हैं टेम्पल में, तो यहाँ पे बहुत ही अच्छा सुकून और जो आत्मा को शांति और भक्ति और बहुत ही अच्छा पवित्र वातावरण हमको मिलता है।
The festivities reach climax at midnight as it is believed that Lord Krishna was born at that hour. The idol of Krishna is cleaned with milk, curd and ghee and decorated with new clothes and ornaments. Then the idol is placed on a cradle to symbolize the birth of the Lord. India possesses many such festivals which provide an opportunity for different sections of the society to unite and celebrate together.
It's time for me to wrap up today's episode. We will be back next week at the same time. This is Hina Joshi signing off on behalf of the entire production team of South Asia Today. Goodbye and take care.